Hey all, this is 012 Boku coming at you with another review, and this time I'm bringing you Twin Peaks. That's right, guys, we're on the next episode of Twin Peaks, and it has been a good one, and it is called, I believe I wrote the names somewhere here. Oh, yes. It is episode 4, and it is the One Armed Man. And in this one, they're going back to the episode where they're interviewing Sarah Palmer, and yeah, Sarah Palmer, I believe it or not, for the dream she had of Bob, as he's known. I mean, they don't know it's Bob yet, but I'll always tell you guys this guy is Bob because as we know, we've seen Bob in Cooper's dream. Don't know much about Bob, but Bob is there, and Sarah Palmer has seen Bob. They're taking a description of Bob, and Sarah's traumatized. Leland actually comes down. He's in his bath bathrobe, or robe, from waking up from sleep too, and he's basically in a sense, mocking Sarah. It's like, hey guys, you want to see a good one? Ask her what she saw. She saw a gold necklace that belonged to Laura. Tell her that one, honey, and or tell them that one, honey, and Sarah's disgruntled, but they're wanting Sarah to keep on telling them about Bob. And she also says, yeah, there was a locket there that someone had buried, but someone dug up and took it. And we also see, what's her name? Oh, Donna Hayward, who was there with James the night they buried the locket at the place. And if you remember in the first episode, we saw someone taking the locket. And if you guys remember, too, who also had the locket, I think we found that out in episode 2. Dr. Jacoby has the locket in his possession. At least I think we found that out now. Otherwise, I'm spoiling it for you guys. But I think we do now know, and we've known already, that the locket is in Dr. Jacoby's possession, I do believe. We also continue that Gordon Cole calls in and tries to find out that, about the case of Laura, what she was tied with, the twine. She was tied with Finley's fine twine. Also, that there were several things from department stores, and she had marks on her neck that was from a bird of some kind that they couldn't discover. They were bird bites. And, they had to search into this too, figure it out, see where it was going to lead. Also, Cooper says he didn't want to be there when they were interviewing Sarah Palmer because Sarah and Dale Cooper saw the same person in their dream, and he said he was a strong center. He didn't want to influence Sarah. To the same time, too, during this call with Gordon Cole, where, if you guys don't know, Gordon Cole is played by David Lynch. So this time we only hear him as a voice, so we haven't seen Gordon Cole physically yet, but he's only a voice behind the phone. And Gordon Cole says how Albert wants to press charges on Sheriff Harry S. Truman. And obviously, as you see, Dale Cooper doesn't want to go through with it, and he defends Truman, and, he hangs up on Gordon Cole, where Gordon Cole's like, Coop, don't hang up now. And he hangs up on him in a hilarious fashion after he says, Coop, don't hang up now, don't get angry with me. So he hangs up on him, and that moves the story for, more about Laura and her murder forward. Also, to this point, we get a call from Hawk where Hawk has discovered the one-armed man. The one-armed man is at a hotel, a motel, a Timber Falls motel, just about 20 miles or so, or no, not 20 miles, a few miles, I think, outside of Twin Peaks. And you have everybody show up. Or at least I think you had everybody show up. For some reason, Hawk didn't stay, but you had Andy, Dale Cooper, and Harry S. Truman, show up. Andy Brennan, Deputy Andy Brennan, if you guys don't remember. But they, all three of them go. And to the same time, what we discover too is that Jocelyn Packard is there watching over Benjamin Horne and Catherine Martell, who are again having sex at this motel to belay suspicion that they're working forward to sabotaging the mill to get the Ghostwood project for the resorts going and everything else that they want to do. And while they're doing that, the Dale Cooper, Harry S. Truman, Andy Brannon are all getting ready to go into the one-armed man's hotel because they knock on the door. Nobody answers, but they're getting ready their guns. Cooper and Truman had theirs out and ready in a waiting position. Andy didn't have his out. He's trying to struggle to get his out of the holster. He drops his gun and goes off, scares the other two. And Benjamin Horne and Catherine Martell here. This Benjamin Horne was actually frightened of the gunshot. And you also had Catherine Martell be like, gunplay sounds serious. Like, she's being all sensual with it. They break in, they find the one-armed man there. He's standing there, they can't tell he's got one arm, but he steps back and he has one arm. I thought it was an effect, but the guy who plays the one-armed man, whose name is Philip Michael Gerard, played by the great Al Strobel. I think Al Strobel's a great actor for what he does. Al Strobel truly has only one arm, and he says in the show it was a car accident that made him lose the arm, which is also true. In real life, he lost his arm at a young age in a car accident from drinking or doing, different type of stuff. And they start to interview him. Before that happens, though, you have it cut back to Benjamin Horne and Catherine Martell, who are sort of flirting again with each other. And then Benjamin Horne wants to go take a shower or give little Elvis, because he's got a little Elvis doll, a bath. He grabs his coat, a chip falls out, and Catherine Martell finds a chip to, One-Eye Jack's, the casino on the Canadian border of Twin Peaks. To that same thing, they're interviewing Philip Michael Gerard. Philip Michael Gerard saying, my name's Philip Gerard, and Cooper points out his middle name is Michael. And they're saying, do you know a man named Bob? And he's like, oh, Bob Lydecker's my best friend in the world. I owe it to Bob. And they're like, why were you at the hospital? Visiting Bob. Bob's in a coma. And then, they're describing, the way Bob looks. But they hand a picture to Philip Michael Gerard. And Philip Michael Gerard looks at the picture. He doesn't recognize Bob from that. But he's like, there was a person who was in a coma there. Again, because I check it out, and Philip Michael Gerard's like, that's Bob. Just in a very strange way. And then Cooper asks Philip Michael Gerard if he had a tattoo on his was his left arm, it is his right arm that's missing, a tattoo on his right arm. And he starts crying, and he's like, Cooper's like, what did it say? It said, Mom! When he starts crying, and sort of looks like he's crying and cracking up at the same time. Maybe Al Strobel was, because, it was a ridiculous scene, this interview. But at the same time, they get more for this case. And apparently Bob Lydecker is a veterinarian at the veterinarian's hospital in Twin Peaks. So it moves that along to where they eventually discover there's a minor bird named Waldo who belonged to Jacques Renault, another person that they're looking into, who's in connection to Leo Johnson, because they're still looking into Leo Johnson, and Leo Johnson, they both know, has disappeared. To the same part, though, on a side note, we have Norma, who's at the prison somewhere in Washington, I believe, getting ready for her husband Hank's parole. Hank begs her to help her out, and she doesn't know what to think. While Hank's having his parole hearing, he said, he didn't mean to take the man's life for manslaughter. And then one of the guys goes, you're not just in prison, Mr. Jennings, for vehicular manslaughter. Fate did not determine you this hand. And, Hank's playing it up that, maybe fate didn't determine me this hand, but I'm willing to do better. I want to do better. I'm willing to be with my wife. And they ask, Norma, are you willing to take your husband in? And she's like, he's my husband, isn't he? I will do it. The boss is tough, but fair. And then to that same thing, they're going to let Hank know of his parole soon and some point as well. So that one goes on too. to this as well. And let's see here. Oh, yeah. Andy, Hawk, Harry, and Cooper have gun practice. Everybody is pretty good with their guns. You know, Truman's really good. Hawk is really good. Cooper did several in the face, two in each eye and two in the nostrils. So he used all six just on the face to sort of create a small face on his shooting range. Andy missed every shot and, you know, couldn't even handle his gun, so that was hilarious. And Cooper's thinking this is also because of relationship trouble. There is also a bit of a scene before this for Andy asking Lucy Moran, the girl he likes, you know, why didn't we spend the night together? And Lucy's like, do you need anything else, Deputy Brennan? And, you know, so she's sort of mad at him for something, we don't know what. They also confiscate all the records at the vets to find this bird, and the birds, well, the animals are done in alphabetically, so they have to go through this whole thing to find the bird. And then, but like I said, they do eventually find Waldo's name in there. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's also a part where when we go back to Bobby and Shelley, you know, they're making out and having sex with each other, trying to find out things. Bobby, you know, is wondering what's Shelley going to do. Shelley actually found a silver Walther PPK, and, you know, she's going to threaten to possibly shoot Leo with it because she's frightened of him. But then she also shows Bobby the bloody coat of Leo's that, you know, Shelley found in the truck. Bobby wants to take the coat. He's like, you know, Leo Johnson is not going to be a part of our plans anymore. And she also mentioned the name Jacques Renault. Bobby acts like he's heard the name Jacques Renault, so he formulates a plan. He tells Shelley not to worry about it. This is near the end where, you know, they get to Jacques Renault's apartment house, and we see Bobby stashing the coat in the apartment. They know somebody's there. I mean, they do get a scene of Bobby. Hawk tries to chase after Bobby, but he loses him. And, you know, they find the coat in connection with everything else. To the same time, too, you have Audrey Horn wanting to get more information for Laura, finding out what happened. You can tell she's doing this for Cooper, or for whatever reason she wants to do this. She actually makes a pact with Donna that, you know, they work together to find info on this, and Donna makes Audrey promise that they'll share information. Audrey also tells Donna there's a connection to her father's department store and Laura and Ronna Pulaski. She actually, in a scene, guilt trips her father, who's exercising to trust her, to make her love, to, you know, Johnny's not going to be the heir to your estate. I am, you know, please love me, Daddy, you know, I want to help you. And, you know, Benjamin Horn eventually gives in. We hear Benjamin Horn talking on the phone to somebody who, you know, we don't know. And, you know, he takes off. Also, Donna and James talk about the missing locket and the dream, and they actually go to the spot where they're looking for it, where, you know, Sarah saw, and they realize they're creeped out because Sarah was right, the locket was missing, and apparently Donna tells James that Sarah Palmer, Laura's mother, had similar visions and dreams like Laura claimed that she had. So Donna basically says the family's had a weird type of connection and thing with everybody else. Now, as we also get to the end here, because I know I sort of flipped around a lot, so I'm hoping I remembered the end to this episode, because I did sort of run out of writing room here. One of the last things that, oh, that's right, I'll get to it in a minute, because now I remember what it is. But near the end, you have Leo Johnson meeting with Benjamin Horn, and, you know, they're out in the woods, and Benjamin Horn, you know, is hiring Leo to take care of the mill and burn it down. And, you know, Benjamin Horn knows of Leo's drug peddling, and he mentions Hank Jennings by name. So Hank is somehow involved in this somehow, as you can see. And they're doing all these things. He also had a run-in with Bernard Renault, Bernie, who we saw in the last episode. Bernie got out on bail, as we learned earlier in the episode. However, Leo Johnson has killed Bernie and has his body wrapped up in a rug, you know, ready to toss him, you know, wherever. So sick escapades abound there. to the same point, Benjamin wants Leo to torch the mill, do this right, do everything correctly, no mistakes. Leo, is antagonistic also to Ben, and he just says, I'll get it done, I'll do it, do you have the money? He pays him half the money now, tells him I'll get the half later, and this continues there. So you can tell Benjamin Horne and Leo Johnson are up to their dirty elbows in this terrible, terrible stuff. At the same time, you have Pete Martell come home from the mill. He's getting a sandwich from Jocelyn, Josie Packard. Jocelyn makes him the sandwich. She gets a letter. She opens the letter, and it's a double, three-sided die, which my friend Jared could probably tell you about that, but apparently that has something to do with prison convicts and murder and things like that. So that's an interesting detail, how we have this hand-drawn domino picture with the two-sided threes that Jocelyn Packard got. All of a sudden, Jocelyn's phone rings, and she picks it up. And I like the camera angle. The camera angle is all distorted and weird looking, so you can tell it's otherworldly. Jocelyn picks up the phone, and she's like, yes. And Hank's like, did you get my message? And she's like, yes. And he's like, good. I'll see you later. Oh, and I forgot to say, Norma got a phone call later in the episode 2 saying that Hank had gotten paroled. So Hank had earned his parole. It was getting out of prison. So, Hank hangs up the phone with Jocelyn. Jocelyn's all scared. And while Jocelyn also picked up the phone, there was a stuffed bear right behind her, like a whole predator prey motif, which was nice. So that's how the episode ended. This one, again, many great characters. I have to give it to, Kyle MacLachlan, Special Agent Dale Cooper. He was great. Michael Ontkean, Sheriff Harry S. Truman. Have to give it to, again, this show's always a huge cast. So, Richard Beamer, Benjamin Horne, great performance. Sherilyn Fenn, Audrey Horne, have to give it to her. Was really good. Let's see. Joan Chen, Jocelyn Packard. Reaction was great. Piper Laurie, Catherine Martell. Eric DeRay, Leo Johnson was really good. And his just things within this. Even though, Leo Johnson is a bit more soap opera-ish in this show, it works. Harry Goaz, Deputy Andy Brennan. Michael Horse, Deputy Tommy Hawk Hill. Let's see, Grace Zabriskie, Sarah Palmer, and I have to also, Chris Mulkey, Hank Jennings gave a great performance in this episode. I think Chris Mulkey gave a really good performance, and then I gotta give it to Al Strobel, the one-armed man, being the clueless one-armed man. Such a funny and good performance. Plus, I also forgot Dr. Jacoby was written on here. I forgot to mention Dr. Jacoby said that when he was being interviewed by Dale Cooper that Laura Palmer was a wild girl and she did, strange things, and she was into drug because he believes she wanted to step out. The funny thing is that Dr. Jacoby can't tell them much because of the patient-doctor confidentiality that, that has to stay between what they talked about in those two with the Hippocratic Oath and those type of rights. So that's that. Overall, this was a great episode. It opens up more. As you can see, the thing with the mill, murder of Laura Palmer, everything's coming together. It's getting more mystique, more weird. Cooper's trying to distinguish the dreams, find out what it means. Multiple characters are doing several things, trying to figure out what's going on. So, it's just getting really good. But what are your guys' thoughts? Let me down below and tell me what you think of Twin Peaks here, The One-Armed Man. Episode, again, I think, episode 4. Just let me know, and we'll get this discussion going. Until then, Ol Mantubo Ku. See you guys later.